Hey guys, TGKS Productions. So as you'll see here, I'm loading into Red Dead Online for the first time with the new Moonshiners update. I wanted to make a video showcasing the introduction of the this Moonshiners update, or the Moonshiners business, and also make sort of a second part to it as far as how to run the business as well. So that's going to be the main focus of this video. I'm not really going to be focusing on really much of the new content or the story missions. I'll probably do the story missions in a different video, but I'm mainly going to be focused on the introduction of the business and sort of how to run the business and give some tips on it. As far as what I know so far, I mean, this is a very new business, and there isn't a lot of experience there yet. I mean, I just started playing it today. I don't think really anybody's maxed out the role level yet, but I'm basically going to be touching on that, and that's going to pretty much be the majority of this video. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. I'll probably have timestamps here in the beginning so you can sort of sift your way through the video, so it doesn't feel too overwhelming if it ends up being long, because I am probably going to cover a lot. But basically here you're going to end up seeing, I'm going to sort of show the Outlaw Pass and whatnot. I don't think I'm going to go through it, but there's basically the new Outlaw Pass, new benefits and whatnot, which is nice, as well as the new Moonshiner update, or the new Moonshiner business, which is the biggest part. But basically, to sort of start this business, is as you saw earlier when I sort of first loaded in, you basically get a business letter from Crips, and it gives you a message to either read the business letter from Crips or meet Maggie Fike at the saloon at Emerald Ranch. For the most part, you really don't need to read the letter from Crips. I'm going to go through it and read it anyway. If you want to skip through it, that's fine. But if you're trying to, when you load into Red Dead Online, if you don't really feel like, you're not required to read this letter, you can just go to the saloon and meet Maggie. You don't need to read the letter in order to, trigger this startup. So real quick, we're going to read that, and then we'll get sort of into the introductory cutscenes and whatnot. Alright, so here's the letter from Crips, basically telling you about this new moonshining business. So here it goes, a letter from Crips. My friend, some exciting news. I just found out that an old acquaintance and admirer of mine is quite literally back from the dead. A fine woman by the name of Maggie Fike. You might have heard of her. She used to run the biggest moonshine operation west of Chicago back in the day. She's been out of the business for a year or two, but says that she's ready to start back up and is looking for a partner. I think this could be perfect for you. Moonshining is a tough game, but you can make a lot of money if you play it right, and Maggie's the best there is. She's very fond of me, so I put in a good word and set up a meeting. How soon can you get over to Emerald Ranch? There's an old abandoned saloon that should be nice and private. Just one thing, old Maggie doesn't take any chances when it comes to security. She's been crossed one too many times in the past. Make sure you walk in slowly and hold up 7 fingers so she knows that you're safe and not there to jump her. See you there, and please hurry. She can't wait to see me. Best, Crips. So there's the letter from Crips. Let's head over to the saloon and basically trigger this cutscene meeting Maggie Fike.
You must be Crips' friend. I'll try not to hold that against you. My name's Maggie. Thanks for coming.
She's back. Jesus, what are you doing? It's me. What the hell?
I missed, didn't I? Don't come in like a bull through the fence next time, you old fool. Your friend here managed to get it right.
Lightning Maggie Fike. We all thought you were dead.
Yeah, so did I. Guess you'll be wanting a drink. Come on, give me a hand.
Biggest mistake of my life, not marrying this woman when I had the chance.
Yeah, you always did have a colorful memory of things. Anyway, it's too late now. As you can see, I have gone and hit my prime.
Well, I heard what happened with Hickson. Evil son of a bitch. Where you been all this time?
Recovering. Lying low. Couldn't barely get out of bed for 6 months.
And your nephew?
Lem. Still in jail, as far as I know.
You seen Danny Lee yet?
Oh, yeah, I've seen him. Cooking for the Braithwaites now. Guess me and him were done.
Well, there's always Marcel. Heard he's not working for Leclerc anymore. Feller's a windbag, but he knows his way around the still.
Yeah, maybe. Feels like it'd be much easier for everyone if I just stayed gone. But life ain't about being easy. I am taking back what's mine. I need legs, though, and I need muscle.
Oh, you'll get that one, this one, and more, I promise you. 2 of us already got a nice little business going.
Long as you know, won't be pretty. I don't do pretty no more.
So, what's the buy-in?
First things first, I need a cookhouse.
What's wrong with this place? Been empty for a while now.
No, I need a good basement. I reckon I could try and get one of my old spots back up and running. bastards seized them all after the raid. You buy me back one of those, I reckon you'll have a fair enough investment. Teach you everything I know. So what you say? All right. Why don't I just leave that with you? Let you sleep on it. But I need to move on that soon.
Can I offer you a ride, Miss Fike?
Suppose so.
Maybe we can stop for a drink on the way.
We just had a drink.
I know. Now I want another one.
Some things don't change.
Alright, so pretty much after you exit the cutscene, you have the option to buy the moonshining business. You have 5 options, pretty much a swamp area, grizzlies, heading steeds, heartlands, and tall trees. I had to basically use some of my treasure maps. I actually didn't have enough gold, so that's why I sort of skipped ahead a little bit. I'm not in the same location. But yeah, basically, I believe I chose the Heartlands as my location. The reason why I want to choose the Heartlands is they're all the same price. They're all 25 gold, and actually, once you buy it, if you want to, I believe, switch, it costs $250. But I chose the Heartlands because I thought it was going to be more of a centralized location, but it really, honestly, wasn't based off of where my business ended up being. So I don't really know what the most centralized is. I'm not really going to say what the best one is. I mean, this is a new update. You know, I don't have a ton of experience with it. I just bought it. I just started using it. But that's sort of why I went with the Heartlands. I thought it'd be a little bit more centralized than what it was, but it's still okay. You know, a lot of the sales and whatnot that you'll do, I believe, are pretty much adapted for each area, as well as like the, you know, the missions and like the bootlegging missions and whatnot, which we'll talk about. So I don't really know if it matters what location you have, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Alright, so we're coming up to the moonshining business that I bought. Unfortunately, this wasn't as centralized as I wanted it to be. It's sort of more to the east of the Heartlands, sort of getting closer to Van Horn and Ansburg, so not very centralized, but nonetheless, still got the business up and running and whatnot. But basically, we're going to go through sort of the last parts of setting up this business, which you'll see in a minute once I get in here. But basically, this is the business that, or I'd say the first like building, I would say, that requires a loading screen. So that's interesting. So these properties are probably, considering that, you know, people are going to own the same properties, so they're definitely going to have loading screens. So that's kind of interesting going forward. So kind of as your name and entering there, I guess your shack is what it's referred to. So basically, it just says speak to Maggie to pretty much continue setting up the operation. And you have 2 options. There's 2 more things you have left to do, and that is rescue the cook and getting the equipment. So I believe I did rescue cook first.
All right, well, next on the list is a cook. Can't do much without that. Since Danny Lee sold his soul to the Braithwaites, we've been courting a feller called Marcel. Friend of Cripps, used to work as a chef for Jessica Leclerc. But he comes from a long line of French distillers. Seems to know what he's doing. Problem is, another outfit got wind of this and grabbed him. So, let's see some of that muscle Cripps promised me.
Alright, so this is the mission I got, to sort of rescue Marcel, the cook of your operation. I said a basic stealth mission in a sense. I mean, you don't really have to go about it, you know, performing stealth, but I'm assuming that they're pretty much mostly the same for all players. I'm assuming the main difference is probably just the location. You know, obviously a location for me where this camp is probably not going to be the same for someone like that has a, you know, a business in Tall Trees. So I'd say that's the biggest difference. I was going to go about it stealth. I think I was going to try to perform stealth here originally, but then I just ended up dead-eyeing a lot of them, just sort of get it over quickly. And then, you know, I just pretty much, you know, I rescued Marcel from that point, and then, you know, pretty much really after that, like I said, you really only have one more setup. I like Marcel. I think it's funny with the him being French and whatnot, because I took French in school, so it's kind of funny that they didn't really, I like them just because they didn't really, you know, just add a lot of, like, I mean, they did sort of go a little bit basic with the French, but they added, you know, you'll go down, you'll hear him talking in French, whatnot, or counting. I think that's kind of cool. Just like it definitely adds to the character of him, so I like that. Also, I guess he was the cook or something for Jessica Leclerc. I can't remember if he was at the camp or whatnot in the very beginning. I'll have to go back and look at that, because he mentions on the horse that I was shooting and whatnot at the moment, so I didn't really get a chance to hear what he was saying. I actually sort of cut his dialogue off, but apparently he saw our character at one point, so I guess that's pretty cool too.
This would be the time to start shooting, huh? I knew someone would come for me. And I knew that if someone came, it would be Madame Fike. You know her well? She and I have a history, you could say. Well, a friend of hers is a friend of mine. Did Madame Fike tell something about me before she asked you to save my life? Allow me to introduce myself. I am Marcel. I was until recently employed by a lady named Madame Leclerc. Perhaps you know. Until I was kidnapped, that is. They wanted... Wait a minute. I thought you looked familiar. You came to visit Madame Leclerc once with... Oh, you look different. Aha, one of Madame Fike's old hideaways, I see. I have some fond memories here. Excellent. Now, where is Madame Fike? We have much to discuss.
Alright, so yeah, that was some of the dialogue with Marcel. So now we're going to finish up setting up the business, getting the equipment. Last part of setting this
We're
up.
gonna need supplies and equipment, so we can set up the still and get started with production. We could buy all this, of course, but why would we do that when we can just borrow it permanently from some of the other moonshiners around here and kill two birds with one stone? Time to show these folks that Maggie's back. And back for good.
So for getting the equipment, all I had to do was go to a rival moonshiner's cabin, basically grab his wagon. Very similar to, I almost actually thought this was the same location that I had my setup for the trader role. Trader role missions very similar. Believe there's like one main setup mission for that, but very similar in that sense. Probably a little bit more setting up with the Moonshiner business overall, but this is a very simple, basic setup mission. Both of these are pretty simple. And like I said, once you pretty much, you rescue Marcel and you get the equipment, you're pretty much ready to go. There's a few more minor steps, but as far as like the business running, if we were to compare it to like a GTA business or whatnot, like, when you have your setup business, and even with like the trader role, when you sort of set it up, there may be some steps after that, like getting supplies and whatnot, but it's able to run. These are the only two missions you need in order to get the business to just run. After that, it's pretty much just getting all, supplies and whatnot.
Well, I am happy to say we are officially in business. Allez-y, I will show you the engine room. Thank you for your interventions the other day. I was turning into a rather unpleasant experience. So here we are. Nice and private. For obvious reasons, huh? There she is, our still. A beauty, huh? Since I've been told that you are new in the business, I was thinking you might need some friendly mentorship. Illicit distillation is a very unique pursuit. But what is most important are the ingredients for the mash. The more successful a business is, the better the price we can negotiate for those ingredients. Just as we will, the more unsuccessful our competitors are, but that side of things is more the area of expertise of Madame Fike. Anyway, some of our buyers are very exacting when it comes to tastes and flavors, so we will need to adjust our recipes to the demand over time. Attention, a stronger alcohol sells for more, as you can imagine, but it also takes longer to produce. So that is something else we will need to balance, huh? Well, that's enough for now. Let's get to work. I have a feeling you are going to learn fast.
Right, so now on to running the business. So basically, once you set up the business, in order to be able to run the business, you need mash materials, and there's three ways to get mash materials. You can either accept the bootlegging mission from Maggie Fike, or you can do a story mission from her. That's basically what you were seeing up on the screen. What I'm starting right now is a bootlegging mission. What those two options do is basically lower the cost of your mash materials. So you have to you are forced to purchase these mash materials. You don't steal them like in a lot of other cases with a lot of other businesses, like in GTA and even like with the trader rule. A lot of times you're stealing supplies. In this case, you're not really stealing anything. You're pretty much just you're carrying out missions or doing objectives for Maggie Fike to lower the cost of the mash materials. Typically, when you do either a bootlegging mission or a story mission, it'll lower it around $20. That's pretty much what I found out. And then pretty much stop at $10. And that's pretty much how to save money through mash materials. The other way is you can just pretty much straight up buy them. I believe it's $60 to buy the mash materials without doing any missions. So that's pretty much how the three ways you're able to acquire the mash materials. Either do a bootlegging mission or story mission, which reduces the cost about $20, or just straight up buy the mash materials for $60, or you could either pay, I believe, like I said, it's around $10 after you do either like a couple bootlegging missions or story missions. So I will say I'm not 100% sure what the least amount you can possibly pay is, because when I first started the business, I had it down to $0. I believe that was just sort of like a bonus I had. And the second time, it basically told me after I did like 2 or 3 missions, I think I did like two bootlegging missions and a story mission, it said I was down to $10, and that was the lowest I could go. The game will tell you what the lowest, when you're at the lowest point, basically, and you can't do any other missions to lower the cost anymore. But I am not 100% sure what the lowest you can actually go, whether it's $10 or $0 or even a different price. But the game will tell you when you cannot go any lower. It will give you a notification pretty much on the top left of your screen saying that you cannot do any more missions to lower the cost of the mash materials. Alright, so once you pretty much have the mash, you're just about ready to go. Basically, what I'm showing you here is where Marcel works. He's basically the one that makes all the moonshine. Just sort of want to explain a couple things here. So sort of the icons that you're seeing in the top right hand corner of the screen. The top one that's empty, or the red one, is the mash materials. And then the type of moonshine that you're basically making, whether it's flavored or not, is in the middle. I believe mine's unflavored. And then the amount that's been currently produced, which right now is none, is your last icon. So it's basically explaining the icons. And like I said, once you pretty much have the mash materials, whether you reduce the cost or you just paid for it all up front or did a little bit of both, you're pretty much ready to go. You'll see here I have it for $0. Like I said, I think that was a bonus I had, or it might have been what I reduced it to. I really don't know what the exact reduced cost is. What you're also seeing here is average moonshine and strong moonshine, which I'm not able to produce yet because you need upgrades for those, and I'll touch on that at the end of the video. Basically, just briefly go over some of the upgrades that you should get and basically the unlocks that you should mainly focus on. There's a lot of unlocks you don't really need, and there's ones that are obviously very essential. And basically, what you're seeing here, there's also flavored moonshine, which does require certain ingredients, so you will need certain ingredients in order to make that moonshine. I believe there's different tiers too. You're seeing some that are 1 stars, other that are 2 stars. So depending on how many stars or tiers or whatnot it is, you're going to obviously make more. And most buyers do require the flavored ones, I would say. So if you're going to make a moonshine, I definitely do a flavored one. I did like 1 unflavored one. I think there was only like 1 buyer. Sometimes there really is only 1 buyer, but you're obviously going to make more with the flavored moonshine than you would with the unflavored. The other important thing you need to keep in mind, though, is that you have to have a buyer ready. If there's not a buyer that's ready, you won't be able to sell the moonshine. So in the buyers reset every 2 in-game days, so keep that in mind. So if there's a buyer ready when you produce it, maybe there's only like 20 minutes left. If it's going to take 30 minutes at the beginning, you may not want to do that ingredient, or you may have to wait considering that there may not be a buyer. The other thing I also found out was I believe if you choose one flavored moonshine and then go to change it, as I did, I believe about 30 seconds ago, for whatever reason, it overrode, or it just completely canceled out my original choice. Even though I did choose another one, I thought it would still keep the other one. It completely canceled it. I believe I lost my materials for it, and I'm not going to get those back. So when you're ready to choose a flavored moonshine, make sure you're sure about which one you're going to choose, because I don't believe you can change it without losing the ingredients that you put in to try to make the other one. He'll even sort of mention it in a sense, Marcel. So do keep that in mind as well. The other thing is, I believe with the supplies, one thing, or with the materials, one thing I didn't mention before is I did leave the session one time. I wanted to test it to see if I left and I would lose my reduced costs. I did not lose my reduced costs when I left, although I did join right back. So I don't know if maybe there's like a certain time that goes by when you will lose the reduced costs, but at least keep in mind that if you do happen to get kicked off online and you join right back, and you had a reduced cost, you're not just going to immediately lose that reduced cost. You're still going to have it, so don't worry about that. Alright, so now pretty much once everything is produced, keep in mind you can only produce one moonshine at a time. Basically, pretty much at that point you're ready to sell. You'll see here I have 20 out of 20 bottles. That's the max you can hold. I don't know if any of the upgrades increase that, but at least as of right now, that's what you can hold. And you'll see me choosing a buyer. I have to obviously choose a buyer that's available. And for whatever reason, I thought I was going to get $82.50 on this when I originally produced this. I don't know, for whatever reason, I ended up getting only 75, or at least that's what I was supposed to get. And I don't believe the buyers reset, so I'm not really sure what happened there. But basically, you see here, I'm doing the sale. It's pretty close. They're pretty close by, at least the one that I actually did 2 sales. This is the first one that I did. For the most part, they're not too far away. It's almost like doing a local sale for the trader. One thing I did realize, as you'll see, is you can do these in defensive mode, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about someone pretty much just rolling up on you and popping you in the face immediately. You have a little bit of a fighting chance. So definitely use defensive mode. This is that'll obviously benefit you on these sales. I'm basically showing you here. Look how close that is. Not far at all. So these sales, like I said, can be compared to pretty much like the trader local sale. And one thing I want to emphasize here, and this is really important, you'll see up ahead that I was about to run into those revenue agents. I tried to basically go around them. I did that with the equipment mission. And you'll sort of see up at the top here that the wagon wheel icon is flashing. Basically what that's telling me is the faster that it flashes is basically the closer I am to destroying the moonshine. And I did destroy a little bit of moonshine. That meter around the wheel is basically emphasizes the amount of moonshine you have, and obviously the more that goes down, the more moonshine that is getting damaged or broken. So you pretty much want to stay on the road the majority of the time. If you end up honestly dealing with these revenue men, what I would do is personally just stay at a distance and then dead eye them with like a repeater or something. It's going to take them out a lot quicker. Don't try to bypass them, and don't try to take shortcuts with these sales. That's probably the 2 biggest things I can emphasize, because if you go off-road, even sometimes hitting some of the bumps that you would think just wouldn't do anything will damage the moonshine. I even did another sale and I damaged some, and I barely hit any bumps. So that's probably the biggest thing I want to emphasize on these sales, is be extremely careful. I mean, even Marcel sort of references that, but you want to be very careful when you do these, because it is extremely easy to damage the moonshine. And considering, especially if you're paying for these in the beginning, you're really not making that much. You're definitely going to want to do some of the missions in the beginning, at least when you only have the what I'm selling right now, which is basically the weak moonshine. I don't know about average and strong. You may be a little bit better to buy the supplies then, but right now you're really not making that much if you're buying the supplies. Or at least barely any profit. You have to be selling flavored ones, and you don't want to be losing moonshine on top of it. Then you're going to be actually losing money in the long run, and that's not good. You'll see I only delivered 16 out of 20 there, and I believe I did the math. I believe you get around like $3.75 per good. The only thing is the math didn't quite work out when I how much I lost. I should have only lost about $15 if it worked out like that instead of $18.75, since I got $56.25 out of 75. So I don't really know how the math works exactly for how much you lose. But yeah, I mean, it's a little weird there, but you should be getting around $3.75 per good, at least in the case for me, because I had 20 goods and I was selling $75 worth, so that's where I get the $3.75. But again, with the amount that I lost, it didn't really quite work out to that amount. So to start winding down the video, I just want to talk about some of the upgrades also that I would recommend getting for the moonshining business. So first off, I'd say the first one, which doesn't require you to be a specific moonshining rule level, I would say the bar expansion. I actually ended up buying that. Maybe I'll show that off at the end of the video. So I'd definitely probably start out with that one. On, I believe it's rule level 5, you are able to get the band expansion as well as the condenser upgrade. I'd probably get the condenser upgrade first, because that allows you to craft average moonshine, which is going to attract more patrons, and then I'd probably do the band after that. And then I believe on rule level 15, you unlock the, which I'm showing here, you unlock the polished copper upgrade, which allows you to basically craft strong moonshine, which is going to even attract more patrons. So those are the ones that I would do. As far as the bar in the band are concerned, I don't really know if like you end up making money off that, like sort of like a GTA nightclub, or if it just sort of adds to, maybe it attracts more sellers. I don't really know what the long-term benefits of that are 100% yet. So, you know, because again, I just started playing this update. But as far as the, you know, the condenser upgrade and the polished copper upgrade, those are, you know, going to be ones that you're definitely going to 100% get. And I'd say the bar and the band as well. Those are probably the top 4. You're seeing here basically the catalog that I'm showing off is where you can buy a lot of the cosmetic moonshiner, you know, like outfits and whatnot. Those are ones I'd probably stay away from. You know, that's not really going to benefit your moonshiner business. So it'd be the last things that I would end up buying. And then here, basically at the business store, or the moonshining store, which you can access through Maggie Fiker, what I would do is, these are the ones that are more worthwhile getting, like the business upgrades as well as the business expansions, like the bar and the band, and then the condenser upgrade and the polished copper upgrade, which is going to obviously improve your moonshine. So these ones are more the ones that you're going to want to focus on, and I would, like I said, you know, buy first. I wouldn't really go for the cosmetics. So that's, you know, pretty much, again, the cosmetics are more bought through the catalog, and then a lot of the business upgrades and the expansions, which are you're going to want to go for first, or through the Moonshiner store, which, like I said, if you go up to Maggie Fiker inside your Moonshiner business, that's basically where you can access those and be able to, you know, purchase those and apply them. And last of all, I just want to show you the bar that I purchased. It's basically downstairs in a room near your shack, or where Marcel works. And as far as I know, what functions down there, there's a few snacks and whatnot you can basically, you know, eat around the bar. And I believe that Marcel, he stocks the bar with pretty much the last batch of moonshine that you made. So whatever your last batch was, that's what he's going to stock the bar with. I believe mine was just unflavored, so I have just the standard one down here right now. You can even serve drinks to your friends and whatnot. You can go back, get your own moonshine. The moonshine actually fortifies your health core, which is, or your outer health core, which is nice, just like the moonshine does, you know, the ones that you loot off of bodies or steal and whatnot. So that's kind of cool how they implemented that as well. As far as, like, you know, future, you know, what this means, like, I don't know. It didn't say anything about attracting patrons, and I don't know if you actually make money directly off of this, or if it attracts more sellers, because again, I just, you know, bought this, so I don't know. I didn't, you know, play it enough, you know, with the bar to really know what it does. So I'm not 100% sure if it's just sort of like for show and sort of just serve drinks to your friend and whatnot. So your friends, so I don't really know exactly, you know, if there's any long-term benefits to this besides just having the band down here and whatnot, and all that just being sort of an entertainment spot, really not making any money. Like with the nightclub, you have entertainment, but you also make money off of that entertainment. So I don't know if it's going to be like that, sort of, or if like I said, it's just going to be pure entertainment. So that's sort of like the gray area for this. But in any case, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up the video here. I'll probably do at least an update video in the future, just sort of covering maybe some of the things I was a little bit unsure about. I'll probably do that either when I figure out a little bit more about sort of maybe the expansions, or when I reach level or roll level 20, I'll either probably do like an update video or maybe like an expert guide on the Moonshiner business. So definitely probably do that once I hit roll level 20 for this roll. But anyways, guys, Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it beneficial. I apologize for the length. It's just, it's hard to cover, update videos, or at least DLC videos when a DLC drops and all the new content. I wanted to combine the introduction with the with sort of how to run this business. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed it. As always, have a great day.